Hi guys, so I wanted to do a review on the Nevernight trilogy. This trilogy I absolutely adored. I devoured it and it was so good. So good. So this is the first book, Nevernight by J. Kristoff. Sorry, you can't see that. There it is, J. Kristoff. The second is God's Grave. And I have the UK editions too because I absolutely think they're beautiful. And then the Dark Dawn, which I know that I have a hardback and two paperbacks. The third one is actually signed, which was not intentional, but I have it, and so I'm going to keep it that way. I absolutely adored this series. God's Grave wasn't necessarily my favorite of the trilogy. It says the Nevernight Chronicles, but it's 3 books. It wasn't my favorite of the 3, just because it was very gladiator, and it's not that I don't like that. It's just it wasn't something that like I was super interested in. I still enjoyed the book. There were still a lot of things in the book that made sense. And after I finished it, sorry, my house gets really dusty. After I finished it, it made sense as to why it was necessary for the story, especially going into the third. It was necessary for those instances to happen. It's basically a I'll read you the synopsis. In a world where the suns almost never set, a woman gains entry to a school of infamous assassins seeking vengeance against the powers that destroyed her family. Daughter of an executed traitor, Mia Corvair is barely able to escape her father's failed rebellion with her life. Alone and friendless, she wanders a city built from the bones of a dead god, hunted by the Senate and its thugs. But her gift for speaking with the shadows leads her to the hearth of a retired killer and a future she never imagined. Now Mia is apprenticed to the deadliest flock of assassins in the entire Republic, the Red Church. Deadly trials await her within the church's halls. Blades and poisons, treachery and death. If she survives to initiation, she'll be inducted among the chosen of the Lady of Blessed Murder, and be one step closer to the only thing she desires, revenge. And so that's essentially what the entire series is about, is her seeking revenge on, what happened and all of that. I've spoken about this before. I believe it was in my previous video regarding Heavenbreaker, but the whole, driven aspect for FMCs, it becomes overwhelming sometimes because that's all the focus is. They can't develop, they can't move forward, they can't progress. It's just that focus. And especially when it spans over, 3 books, it becomes monotonous and boring and just absolutely, unfinishable sometimes. But this series was not that way. It was definitely the focus because it was definitely there because it was the focus of the book. The revenge was the focus of the book or series. But the development and the growth and the, experiences that this FMC and, the characters that go along with her is just incredible. It's not monotone. There are reasons why the things that happen. There is failure. She doesn't always, succeed or survive. Well, she survives, obviously, but she doesn't always succeed. She's not always thriving. There are moments of despair and grief, and this series is a wild ride, and it's honestly one of my favorite series. Dark Dawn, if you can see, I annotated the crap out of it because this book just hits so many things. It's incredible. There's actually in this book, there's actually a scene that happens. I remember it vividly. My husband and I had taken our kids to a train museum because my oldest son is absolutely gaga over trains. He's obsessed. And so we had taken them to a train museum. Well, it had been so hot that day that my baby just was not handling it. So he and I went and sat in the car while my husband took my oldest to continue to view the museum. And as we're sitting in the car, my baby's falling asleep, I'm reading this book, and no joke, I was sitting in the I was sitting in the driver's seat. I had my book open, I had my annotation stuff next to me, and I legit was like gagged. And I was like, what the, like, gagged. And I have not had a book do that to me, and I don't even know how long. I think Harry Potter was honestly the one that did that. And if you haven't read it, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know, you know. When those scenes happened in the Harry Potter series, you're just like, are you serious? So this book is probably the first that has done that to me in a long time, and I was living for it. I was here for it. I could not get enough of it. It was incredible. So enough gushing. Read the Nevernight series. You will not be disappointed. If you have read it, let me know. If you haven't read it, and you know, just let's talk. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.